Is this merely a folk tale I insist on embracing, at times even worshiping? The facts are the facts. How I choose to interpret or deconstruct them falls squarely on me. At some point, we're all victims of our childhoods. How often we choose to go back there and lend an ear to those whispers is some serious wheat chaff fuckery. Chapter 2. Memories are tricky. To clarify, one's recollection and the actual event never seem to wind up on the same road trip. Early life memories can be the thickest fog to cut through. I can never decide if an image came from the moment itself or from a badly creased photograph I glanced in a grainy album from the 80s. As I said, tricky. I was 2 years old, still living in New York, and headed to my first surgery. As a colorful distraction, my parents decked me out head to toe in a very stylish Roy Rogers cowboy ensemble, mini Stetson, boots, spurs, and 2 chrome Colt 45 cap guns. Surgery be damned. Those cattle rustlers and horse thieves were no match for this gunslinger. Gotta back up the covered wagon a bit. 6 months earlier, I had developed a dramatic reaction to people staring at me. If I noticed someone so much as glancing in my direction, at the top of my lungs, no location spared, I would bloody murder scream, "Stop staring at me!" Bummer for all of us because I was a pretty handsome child. It's prophetic that I had such disdain for those ocular invasions and ultimately became one of the most stared at people of all time. My parents' attempts to uncover the cause of this sudden distemper produced 0 results. Some shit just shows up one day and decides to stick around. Kind of like people. A couple of months into my chronic outbursts, a new twist crashed the pathology party. My hand would shoot down into my pants, grab my balls, and wrangle that part of my crotch. The louder I yelled, the tighter my grip. Yeah, I still scream. I still grab my balls, just not both at the same time and never in public. Progress. It was a therapist friend of Mom's who witnessed a performance one night, and after putting 2 and 2 together, she recommended that I be checked out for a hernia. The strain and force of the screams had apparently torn a gap somewhere below the gun belt. A few days later, I was dressed to the nines for my gunfight at the OK Corral. The surgery was a success. And somehow the staring tantrums pulled up stakes and moseyed on out of town. I have no recollection of the story I just shared. It's a piecemeal arrangement of dinner chatter and parental reminisce. The kind of nights you didn't want to end, sandwiched by the days you always knew would. My memory comes from a single photograph that I'm convinced I glanced at in a grainy album back in the 80s. In my mind, it's me in the cowboy costume, staring perfectly and evenly into the eyes of the camera. I'm still searching for the actual photo, but right now, I'm content with the memory of it. Chapter 3. My dad left Dayton, Ohio in 1959 on a Greyhound bus with $50 in his pocket and a one-way ticket to New York City. He won a statewide speech contest and used that dough to pursue his dreams of becoming an actor. He didn't just idolize James Dean. He was determined to pick up where he left off. To activate this mission, prior to skipping town, Dad intentionally failed an entrance exam to a local junior college, a broken promise by design to his father, where apparently they shook on some deal that involved higher education. Pop still wears the crown for the worst score in the history of that institution. His father, Francisco Estevez, whom he adored and whom I never had the pleasure of truly knowing, worked at the NCR, National Cash Register Factory, for nearly 50 years. He was a Spanish immigrant and spoke very little English, if any. He met Dad's mom, Marianne Phelan, at a local dance for the newly naturalized. She'd arrived on a ship from Ireland searching for a better anything. The two of them hit it off, got married, and then proceeded to have 10 children, 9 boys and a girl. In what was an uncle circus growing up, my sturdy Aunt Carmen was the lion tamer. Dad's mom died when he was 11 and his pop never remarried, a measure of sorrow for a child I cannot begin to envision or pretend to grasp. I think as a result, Dad has been on lifelong expeditions to the dual homelands of his parents to unearth who they were and what they stood for, either through living relatives or the stories and memories they both left behind. His quest is beautiful and heroic and ongoing. Some may call it chasing phantoms. I choose to call it becoming whole.
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.